And we're back for another weekend review show. Of course, I'm JSU here with my two boys, K Falick and Third and Schlong. We will be reviewing all of what happened this past week in the NFL, probably starting with last night's game because it's just fresh in my mind. But I'll bring in my co-host here. Kevin, I'll start with you since you were away last week. What's going on with you, my friend? How did your showdown night go last night?
It was going all right, going pretty damn well, and then I went underweight on Josh Jacobs and felt pretty good about it in the first half. Obviously, when he was doing absolutely nothing, and then he definitely woke up a little bit. Situation fell into his lap as well, with the opportunities he had. I had Jacoby Myers and I basically went heavy on Jacoby, Devontae Adams, and then 100% AJ Dillon. So that's and then obviously on the quarterback. So I did what I do on these showdowns is I go heavy on the spots where I know that they're focused in on that, and then made everything else work from there. And it started off great, ended up doing okay, but definitely not a very good day once the Josh Jacobs touchdown happened, and then I was not high on the Raiders defense and was high on Jordan Love. So Jordan Love needs to do some work. He's not there yet for sure. He is not there yet, but he has the talent. We know he does. He's just not. He doesn't. He was throwing really random long balls that should have just been different passes. Should have been chosen.
Yeah, off his back foot too. They clearly don't trust him either. That's the other
Yep.
thing I got from that was they clearly don't trust him. He had one of the worst interceptions. Actually, the first interception he had, they showed it at someone showed it after. It was like a screenshot. It would have been picked by two different guys. So if that guy who was standing right there, who he threw it to, wasn't there for some reason, I think it was either the safety or the corner was coming down and would have probably picked the ball anyways. So it literally would have been picked off by two guys. One of the worst interceptions you'll see maybe all year. Like it was that bad. There was like three guys around him. And I don't know if he just didn't see the guy in front of him. He just predetermined that ball was going there. And that was really bad. So I had a ton of Jordan Love. So my night didn't go that great, even though I did say that if I were to pick a defense, I would be higher on the Raiders defense than the Packers, which I guess that'd be right, but didn't work out well with if you had Jordan Love and the Raiders defense because Jordan Love did not do very good. But Bryce, hopefully you had a better showdown slate than me and Kevin.
So at captain in tournaments, I went all in on Jacobs and Adams. I had a really good Jacobs team that was up there. It did not have Raiders defense, and it had a real chance to win if Christian Watson scored a touchdown at the end. I would have needed Jacobs to outscore Myers on the last drive, and it would have been the nuts. But of course, the ball gets picked. So
it was a terrible. Again,
it was an awful. Yeah,
half a second earlier, and it's an easy touchdown.
He didn't even give Watson a chance to make a play on the ball.
Yeah, half a second.
Can we also say it was a really good play by the corner? Like the corner was beat.
Like the corner made a good play.
The corner was beat.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to fucking zip that in there like earlier, not like put so much air under.
Or he needs to put it to the back of the pylon where only his receiver can get it. He can't underthrow it in that situation. Like he either needs to overthrow it to where, okay, we still have another shot, or put it to where it's only his receiver can get it. But it was a nice play by the corner, I will say.
Yeah. Cash went well. Basically, Cash was a massive train. The team was either Jacobs or Adams at captain. Almost everyone went Adams. I went Jacobs, which I said on the show the night or the time before, and that literally won you the cash slate. I left 1,300 on the table. I think the team was Love, Adams, Jacobs captain, Jacoby Myers over the Packers receiver. Some people played like Dobbs or Watson over Myers. AJ Dillon and Patrick Taylor. So, yeah. And then I ended up beating some of the AJ Dillon captain teams that didn't have Patrick Taylor on them, because if you're playing AJ Dillon, like it was to not play Patrick Taylor. So we actually passed some of them on the last drive with the Patrick Taylor catches. So cash was a good outcome. GPP wasn't. FanDuel, I was 1v1. I needed defense over kicker. But it was a massive chop. I think it was 3K to the winner as FanDuel.
Oh, was it that much of a chop?
FanDuel
I
was
know
that
at the very end with that last drive, it was like 9K was the chop. So it was even more of a chop at the end. I didn't look at the finish.
Yep. It ended up only paying 3K, so that wasn't very tempting. But
yeah. All right. Well, yeah.
Packers. Jordan Love sucks. The Raiders are who they are. They're not that good of a team either.
I mean, the Raiders suck too. They should have lost that game, and they won that game. But I mean,
just a pretty bad Monday night
bad.
game. Get the Chiefs in primetime again this Thursday. So
love it. Everybody plays these guys.
They play Denver. Who do they play?
Yeah, they play Denver.
Oh, don't love that.
We gotta watch the Chiefs against Denver in primetime.
With the Chiefs at home.
They're at home too, Falik? Oh God. The spread's gotta be 12. What's the spread?
I just hate, I hate playing Chiefs players, so
I mean the Chiefs defense is gonna be 40% owned.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the classic spot where I don't play any 5-1 Chiefs onslaughts and go way under on defense and hope that Russ can cook and even if they're down 30 or 40 to nothing, rack up some garbage.
We're getting no favors with the showdown slate this week. We got Broncos, Chiefs, Ravens, Titans is the London game. Bills at home versus the New York Giants, and the Cowboys versus the Chargers. At least that will be a pretty good game. But yeah,
the first two or the Thursday and Sunday sound ugly.
I mean, they sound like
Ravens, Titans.
They sound like slates where you'll have massive advantages, though, if you want to go against the field. They sound like massive leverage slates where what everyone's going to do and what the highest probability is and what's going to happen. But still, if you want to go the opposite way and take a chance, you'll be way different. You how to be unique is my point on those type of slates. So they suck, but they're good for showdown from that standpoint. If that's the way you build, you know what I mean, is just to be unique. So that's the thing with the showdown slates, but not great games. Hopefully Saquon's back for the Giants. I don't know.
That is the thing is if Saquon's back, maybe we'll have somewhat of a game.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, well, let's get into the week main slate week from this past week, and we know what it was. I saw a lot of people on Twitter complaining, "Oh, chalk! Oh, the people get away with it again." Blah blah blah. Devon Achane was the best play on the slate, but he was a bad play because he was 30% owned or whatever like that. So I want to start there with all the chalk. Well, a lot of the chalk smashing. Breece Hall smashed. He was very popular. Achane smashed. He was very popular. David Montgomery was good. Even though I think he could have been even better, but missed opportunities in the goal line kind of in that game outside of that first touchdown in the beginning. I thought he had a chance to have 2 or 3, honestly, but still a lot of popular plays hitting. And what are we doing here in tournaments? Because for me, I played Achane. I played him on all my teams. I just thought he was a lock. You know what I mean? I thought a guy like him, I put him in the same kind of breath as guy the one play. He can house it every single time he touched it. So if you told me that guy touches the ball 12 to 15 times, well, I'm telling you that in 12 to 15 times, he has 12 to 15 chances to house long touchdowns. That's what in my head, that's what I'm saying. So in my head, I equate it to Tyreek Hill. I equate it to these guys like Tyreek Hill who they just need that one shot and they go 80 yards to the house. You know what I mean? They might get 10 chances, but and he's 6,500 or 6,300, whatever he was, 61. That's a massive discount. And I just thought I'm crazy to not play this guy. He did get injured in the fourth quarter, but by then the game was over. and so he didn't really play much in the fourth quarter because of that injury. Now we're seeing it's going to hold him out. But what'd you guys do with those type of spots? Because, I mean, I felt like some of those guys were just easy plug-in plays. I mean, Jamar Chase popped off for 55. I thought he was one of the better receivers on the slate, even over Justin Jefferson. I said that on the Wood Show that I preferred Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase to Justin Jefferson. Fallick was on that show with us, I think, at the end. So I'll start with you, Kevin. Like, what'd you do with all those situations? Because clearly people were not happy that some of these guys popped off again.
I definitely went underweight on many of them. And it was a painful situation for me overall. I had some good calls though as well. But I definitely locked in Jamar Chase. I played some Tyreek Hill, but it wasn't enough. I was heavy on Bijan, who sucked, and just those were my chalk plays. Was Bijan and Justin Jefferson, who did not do what they should have done or what I needed them to do. But like the number one thing for me was I was not playing Wan'Dale Robinson in his 14 catches for negative 46 yards or whatever it was that he ended up getting. I told everybody that I thought the play was Josh Downs. I played heavily Josh Downs. I'm going to at least somewhat victory lap that call. It was a good call. He was the number one receiver for the Colts in that game. Looked great and could have obviously done more. It was the funny thing was when Anthony Richardson got injured, I was like, great, Josh Downs is going to be even better now.
That honestly, K. Fallick, when he got injured, I went, fuck, why didn't I play any Josh Downs? Damn it. I was so mad. I was like, he's going to smash now.
What's interesting is that the team, the Titans overall played horribly against the run, which has not happened yet this season. And there's being in Nashville, I listen to sports radio every once in a while, and they're saying Tier Tart, who's the guy that plays next to Jeffrey Simmons, usually was out for the game, and I completely missed that. And they're saying, oh, he's going to get paid next year now based off of this, yada yada. Simmons was also injured in the game. He played through it, but you could tell he was injured. So when that happens,
that'll do it.
That'll
do it right there.
Yep. Yeah. So your two best defensive linemen being out is gonna make opportunities for that running game to go off. But I liked the chalky plays. Let me say it that way. I did not like Breece Hall and A-Chain are good players, and I should have listened to the coach speak more than what was actually done.
I mean, Kevin, A-Chan could be the best running back besides Christian McCaffrey, could be the best running back in fantasy football with his role in that offense. Like outside of Christian McCaffrey, he might have the most upside of any running back in fantasy football.
Unfortunately or unfortunately, we don't have to deal with that for the next however many weeks now. Whichever side.
Unfortunately for all you faders that faded Devon A-Chan. Apparently.
Well, think about it. He's going to be. I don't know what price he is. I haven't looked at the slate at all, but like
he was the second most expensive behind.
Yeah, he's not playing obviously now, but he was the second high, which he should have been, right, Bryce? Like he definitely should have been the second highest price running back. Like
and he was on FanDuel. If you guys look at my cash teams, we'll go over them in a second. I played him on DraftKings. He was a difference maker. A lot of people faded him. I did not get Breece Hall in my teams, who was like kind of the one guy that I wanted. You'll see the FanDuel decision was super close, and the team was massively trained. To touch on A-Chan in tournaments, I think I had around 40%. I thought he was a great play just because he can house it. I'm not one to typically go all in on players. I had one really good Millie team on DraftKings. I think it finished 37th. Needed some more from that. And then the afternoon only slate, I was leading pretty much the entire slate until Jets defense went nuts at the end and just buried me. So that was a little frustrating. But I had a good week in cash overall. So ended up being a solid week for me.
I have a question. We're talking when we talk about how this is going, how this is played out. We now have, so we've been talking at least I have, that there are three wide receivers that I'm trying to force in is more than I force in running backs, except for Christian McCaffrey. And now the question is there a fourth? What do you do with Cooper Kupp now that he's back and we saw what his role was on this team and how healthy he looked? Where do you put Cooper Kupp in this conversation of like of your three other wide receivers, which again I'll say Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson's out, so we can in theory remove him, but Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and I guess you can throw in Devontae Adams if you want to in there. I don't want to throw Devontae Adams in, but those I've been saying all year I'm going to force these guys in over forcing a running back in.
I think you put Kupp right there. I'd probably put him slightly behind Jefferson, or not Jefferson, Chase. If as long as T is out, like they're just going to force feed the ball to him. I mean, I think he has a higher floor than the other guys, and probably slightly lower upside. Like Tyreek, I mean, as we've mentioned, he's just a house call. But if Kupp's going to get 15 targets a game, I mean, he's right there. It'll probably come down to matchups and like what games you expect to shoot out. Like for Tyreek, I kind of want him to be in more of a teams that can keep the game close against the Dolphins type of deal. And they play the Panthers this week. So, if he doesn't get it done early, they're not going to risk injury to him and like force feed him the ball at the end of the game. So, Tyreek would be like more of a tournament only play.
See, Bryce, I'm actually the opposite. I like Tyreek against these inferior teams. Look at their schedule and look at what he's done.
And it's like in cash, it's like I like playing. This was all cash for me.
In cash, Cooper Kupp has got to be one of the safer floor plays.
100%. I mean, I would take Tyreek against him in like a shootout type of game, though. Like straight up.
Tyreek against him in even a blowout. Look at what he's done in these blowout games. Actually, in the games where he's faced inferior teams, he's had better games. The games that he hasn't, Patriots and who was the other team they played that was that held them in check? I can't remember. Was it the Bills? I think it was the Bills. Those two games were the two games where he just had, subpar performances and stuff. The other games, he's smashed. It's because he just kills weak teams, like absolutely destroys them.
Yeah, I mean it's all slate dependent. Like, I mean, if we get the value, I assume Raheem Mostert's going to be just mega chalk now, even with Jeff Wilson probably coming off IR. They've shown zero want to play Ahmed, so I mean, it's probably going to be Raheem Mostert chalk week here.
The good thing is we get Kyron Williams at like 6,500 for next week against, I think, Arizona.
There is definitely a lot of
playing Kyron Williams. Yeah, I haven't really looked at the slate yet, but
especially coming off a game where they played the Eagles, which is definitely more of a pass funnel than being able to run on them. So
you can't tell me. I refuse to agree with you that Raheem Mostert is a better play than Alvin Kamara. Just in a vacuum.
Who's Alvin Kamara playing?
The Texans.
Texans have been pretty good, honestly.
But it's not about what they're doing and how good they are. It's about the fact that Alvin Kamara is a bell cow. He is right now a 100. He is one of the few bell cows in the NFL.
So is Kyron Williams.
I agree. I don't disagree with you.
Raheem Mostert might be a bell cow since Devin Achon's out too.
Correct. Yeah.
Mostert profile is better on FanDuel just because he has way more touchdown upside. I mean, you need to look at like the props on it and stuff. But I mean, I'd give me Camaro for the floor on DraftKings with his receiving role. I just hate the Saints at the goal line. They're such fucking trolls.
I hate it too, and I've hated it every year. And it seems like at least that he's getting more. I need to look at the numbers, but definitely seems to be getting more opportunities at the goal line.
So back to your question, Fallick, about Cooper Kupp. After seeing it, because I remember talking about this with you and Tony on the show on Sunday, and I was pretty confident that if he was playing the whole game, which he pretty much played most of the game, right? He was going to be fine. Like he was going to get his
everything. He played everything but 3 snaps.
Yeah, exactly. So he played most of the game, almost all the game. and he got 12 targets. He got 8 catches for 118 yards. What was clear to me, though, was I think 4, maybe 5 targets were like the first drive of the game. And it was clear to me that they were forcing him the ball early, just whether it was to get his feet wet, whatever it was, just to get him going. And that was clear. It slowed down a little bit as the game went on, but he can still be a beast for fantasy football. The one thing that surprised me, though, was that they still were feeding Puka too. So it was like a two-headed monster here with Puka and Cooper Kupp. And I think it won't be – I don't think it's going to be Cooper Kupp where every single game he's going to smash like he did in years past because of Puka. But I think he's going to have games where he smashes. I think Puka will have games where he smashes. And then I think, they're going to hurt each other some weeks where you won't see the ultimate upside, but you'll see like the floor for cash games and stuff like Bryce was saying. So to me, I think you got to put him up there with the top, like Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase type of plays and stuff like that week in and week out. Justin Jefferson's hurt, but that's another discussion.
I'm sad we don't get many LA Rams showdowns, unfortunately, looking at their schedule, because that is right up my wheelhouse. Force in those 4 guys that are literally getting all the work for the team. And unfortunately, we will not be seeing them in showdown very often.
So our guy Rance won 2,600 in DK showdown, he said. Shout out to you. That's awesome. Better than me, for sure, on that slate. So probably faded Jordan Love like a smart man, where I played his ass. So congrats to you. That's awesome. Justin Jefferson, the other thing, before I get to the cash lineups that Bryce has, he's going to be out like at least 4 weeks, I think. And who knows? I saw something saying about how if they keep losing games, why would he even rush back from injury, which kind of makes a lot of sense.
They could trade Cousins.
Yeah.
If they suck, they'll probably trade Cousins. And Justin Jefferson did not sign a contract extension. There was zero motivation for him to go back out there and get hurt.
Yeah, I'm definitely a little worried as someone who has some Justin Jefferson in best ball, and this is going to be interesting here. I don't think he's going to rush back onto that field, especially if they end up trading Kirk Cousins. So,
pack this name away right now. Brandon Powell is your man this next week at 3K. By
Brandon Powell.
By Bryce.
You just pulling names out of a hat?
Yep, that's the guy.
That's the guy you got? Name out of the hat, Brandon Powell?
He is the man I found.
All right. Well, I remember Brandon Powell. He's been in the league a little bit, so we'll see. Little shifty guy. I can play a little shifty guy if he's going to get work.
For real, he played when Jefferson got injured. Jefferson played 51 plays, 35 of them were passing plays. Brandon Powell played 22 plays, 18 of them were passing plays. They literally that was the interchangeable piece. Obviously, there's Addison and Hawkinson and those pieces as well. You never
they get the Bears this week, Kevin.
I know, that's what I'm trying to tell you is keep that name. I like this is still going to be as crazy as it is. This is still going to be the game that I'm probably going to stack on up because I know what the Bears are going to do. I know what the Vikings are going to do. And what's interesting is we got a lot of injuries on the Bears side. They literally may not have a running back this week again. Like they're going to have to bring up Foreman again. And then you get cheap.
They signed a running back too. Who'd they sign? Was it Tony Jones?
Tony Jones.
I think. Yeah, Tony Jones. So they signed Tony Jones. I'm assuming that they're going to make active.
Foreman's going to get called. Foreman's going to get called up. Like they were running blasting game in the whole third and fourth quarter. I remember him as the fullback for the Titans, who was getting run for a little while just because they ran out of players on the Titans one time.
I honestly can't believe Khalil Herbert's going to be okay though in a few weeks. Like that looked like way worse.
I can't believe he came back in the game. I needed him so badly in that game for a showdown. Like I had the stone nuts with him. And he came back in, and I'm like, God, I can't believe he's back in the game. And then he just like fell down when he tried to when they gave him.
He tried to cut. He tried to plant his foot,
and
he just couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, props to him for trying to tough it out. But
he was smashing too, Bryce. He was ripping them up on the ground too. That was the other thing. He was absolutely crushing it.
And Roshan had already gotten hurt, so I'm like, oh, this is a Herbert game. I really need him. This is perfect. And he gets hurt, and I'm like, God damn it, Justin. All he had to do is put the ball out a little further, and he didn't have to like turn around and get his foot stuck in the ground.
Oh, God. That was just a weird, awkward way he turned around to try and catch that ball. But that's good. At least he's going to hopefully be okay in a few weeks. I can't believe he's not out longer, though. That looked really bad. All right. So, you guys, let's anything else from the week that you want to talk about? Throw it out now, and then I'm going to pull up Bryce's cash lineup while you guys, talk about anything else phallic. You want to talk about Anthony Richardson and how I keep telling people to stop playing this dude because he's going to get injured, and he's gotten injured 3 times.
Can I talk about the fact that
But you have to play him. You have to play him every slate. You just have to play Anthony Richardson. That's what I was told this. You're crazy if you don't play Anthony Richardson. You're just crazy. And then I'm going to say, they're going to say, you got lucky. You got injured. Well, it's a part of football. What do you mean? I literally told you he's going to get injured. I literally have told you this dude is just a walking injury waiting to happen. What happens? He gets, and it's not a concussion. He gets a shoulder injury. Just unfortunate. I hate it. I don't like injuries. I don't wish them on anyone. But the dude, the way he plays football, he's just going to keep getting injured. It sucks. It's what happens, though. Unfortunately,
I'd like to talk about the fact that Lamar Jackson got screwed out of 14 touchdowns by his wide receiver.
Oh no, you ain't getting away from this here, Phallic. You love Lamar.
Most drops in NFL history.
In NFL history, he had the most drops by his players in NFL history. He had the highest rating of a passer of the week. But the problem was that his players couldn't, potential passer rating or something like that. His rating was higher than anybody else, and he ends up with 10 freaking points because his wide receivers can't catch the fucking ball.
All I want to say is, who won the game, Kevin?
The luckiest team in football, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, God, they lost to the Steelers. How did they win that game? I'll never know. But I will just say this, Phallic, stop playing against teams like the Steelers. That's
please, you're being there is no result that should say that Lamar Jackson should not have had 30 points yesterday or on Sunday.
It happens in football, though.
Result.
I'm sorry, drops happen in football all the time. You think that Jordan Love doesn't go down there and score if those two guys don't drop passes before he feels like he has to force the ball down the field on 3rd and 10 because his 2 receivers before him drop the ball? What do you want? It's football. That shit happens. Lamar got unlucky. The Pittsburgh Steelers were never scoring in that game outside of the lucky plays at the end to make that game a competitive DFS game. I kept trying to tell you this.
Hold on.
Yeah, you got unlucky. He was still a bad DFS play, though, in my opinion. That was never going to be a back and forth game, ever.
Hold
on. Well, I got Bryce's cash lineup.
Yeah, you do that. I'm gonna take over sharing control in a minute, and I'm gonna present the video of Zay Jones literally with the ball in his hands in the end zone and
Zay
just
Flowers.
drops it.
Zay
Flowers, whatever. Him too.
Did you see the one where he literally threw it to him and it got punched out?
Yep.
Did you see that one too? That was a good one.
There's a million of them.
There was a lot of them. All right, Bryce, talk about your cash lineup here. I'm going to read it off real quick so people can see it, and then you can go for it. Jalen Hurts, Joe Mixon, Bijan Robinson, Justin Jefferson, Khalif Raymond, DeAndre Hopkins, Sam Laporta, Isaiah Pacheco, and the Titans defense was your cash team on FanDuel. Talk about this team real quick and how it did.
So overall, it was an exact split on FanDuel. For those of you who can't see, this team was massively trained in the high stakes double up. 15 out of 20 people had the exact same team, but with a different third running back. Your choices were Pacheco, Connor, or Breece Hall. If you played Connor, you lost. I think that was kind of unlucky with his injury. I played Pacheco. My reasoning for that is I just wanted exposure to the Chiefs game. I had no Chiefs on any site. So that was kind of the tiebreaker for me there. In retrospect, I probably should have gotten a Breece Hall share here somewhere in cash. I didn't play him on DraftKings either, but Jamar Chase nutted for me there. When it comes down to this build, it just pricing was so soft on FanDuel. It just kind of made itself. Like once you got Khalif Raymond for minimum price, and I don't love a Khalif Raymond type of player on FanDuel, but at minimum price, he let you literally do whatever you wanted with the team. Joe Mixon was $7K. He got 30 touches. He was a lock for me at $7K on FanDuel. Jalen Hurts, I thought was the best spend. I like that game to shoot out. I played him on DraftKings too. I always take the running quarterbacks. And I said that in chat that I was playing him over Mahomes as my preferred spend. Bijan, I really liked him this week, and it was kind of disappointing to see his workload shift a little back towards Tyler Algier or Algier, however the fuck you say his name. I think he was the right play on FanDuel. On DraftKings, he might not have been for the price, and we can go over that. Justin Jefferson obviously underperformed. He was my preferred spend up if you could get there. I played Chase over him on DraftKings, which helped a ton. So I wasn't necessarily rooting for Jefferson here. DeAndre Hopkins and Jalen Waddle were my two favorite receivers in the middle. Both had good games, but this team needed the salary to go down to Hopkins, and I was totally fine with what I thought to be a pretty good spot for Hopkins. He pretty much dominates that offense, and if they do get down, they're just not pounding Henry. The Titans' defense sucked on both sides. They were both massively owned. They were simply too cheap at $3,400, basically a full punt on both sites. And then I had Sam Laporta. I cored him on both sites, and he was total chalk on FanDuel at $6K, but people didn't want to play him on DraftKings, so he came in pretty under-owned in cash games on DraftKings. So Laporta helped me a lot there. I mean, this week in FanDuel, I hate slates like this where there's just kind of what I figure to be an obvious team. When 15 out of 20 people have the same team, it gets a little annoying, and it simply comes back. It simply came down to choosing one player, right? If you chose Breece Hall, you won. Papa Gates was the only one that chose him in this. I think of the 8 people chose Pacheco and 6 chose Connor, or 7 chose Connor here. So, if you chose Pacheco, you probably split. If you chose Connor, you lost, and that was pretty bad luck with the injury. And if you chose Breece Hall, like the full nut play, you win. I probably should have been a little higher on Breece. Looking back on things, we've been attacking Denver all year. I'm really high on Breece as a player. And, Dalvin Cook was relegated to 10 snaps like he should be. The guy's total dust. So if I went back and did it, I probably would have played Breece over Pacheco. That might be a little results oriented. But after you see the role that he had this week, he was 100% the right play. So I think that's the one spot I can look back and say I played wrong. Everyone else, I would have done the exact same thing.
All right. I'm wondering, what was Chase? Was Chase owned in this hire?
Chase was not owned. Not a single player had Chase. I think at 8,700, everyone was getting up to either Jefferson or Tyreek, because Jefferson was like 9,200. So there was like a 500.
In tournaments, I was surprised Chase ownership. That's why I was asking, because I saw him like 30% in tournaments on FanDuel. So, and I thought he was a little overpriced. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get him like lower owned almost on FanDuel, and he wasn't. At least not in GPPs anyway.
Yeah, that was pretty surprising to me, because typically when a player is like super overpriced on one side and super underpriced on the other side, like you get them cheap, which is obviously what you were thinking there. So
yeah, and he came in lower on DK. he was like 20% on DK and like 30% on
Yeah,
FanDuel or something like that. It was
I didn't
weird.
get that, and we could head over to DraftKings, but
Yep.
yeah, a lot of people tried to pay for Jefferson over Chase, and I thought you just take the savings with Chase and run with it. You know, he was 7,900 on DraftKings. T. Higgins was out. He's going to have a massive target share. You know, even if they're blitzing Joe Burrow a ton, and Arizona actually blitzes at the lowest rate in the NFL, he's going to catch a ton of short passes. For those who can't see, my DraftKings team is Jalen Hurts, David Montgomery, Devon Achane, Jamar Chase, Khalif Raymond, Wan'Dale Robinson, Sam Laporta, Bijan Robinson, and the Titans. This was a slight train. It ended up being like a top 10% team. Did very well with it. The 2v2 that beat me was Travis Kelce and Hollywood Brown over Sam Laporta and Bijan Robinson, which I actually looked at and thought was extremely close. The tiebreaker for me was I just loved Sam Laporta this week. I thought that he was going to take over a lot of the Amon-Ra type of middle routes. And, you know, he could have had a bigger game if they didn't get so far ahead. Like they only threw, you know, like 26 passes, I think. They dropped back to throw 30 times in the game. It was just a complete blowout. Raymond and Wan'Dale are not plays that I love in tournaments, and I love fading these type of guys there, like the chalk, low upside, high floor type of guys. But, you know, by playing them in cash, you can see I can literally pay for anything else and get the nuts pretty much everywhere, which is what the goal is. Because a guy like David Montgomery, he was the first player on my team. I thought he was the easiest play of the week at 6,600. He was in consideration for me on FanDuel at 8,500. You know, they just like to lean on him if Gibbs is out, and, you know, massive home favorite against the Panthers is about as good of a spot as you can get. Once again, I played Jalen Hurts over Mahomes. A lot of people played Mahomes. I get the play. It's because, you know, he's more likely to hit the 300-yard passing bonus, but as you see here, I mean, Hurts hit it and the game went under. I've been playing Jalen Hurts ever since they started doing the tush push, and I'm going to continue to do that. I think he's, you know, week in and week out, probably the best play at quarterback. Josh Allen would be 2 for me right now, and Mahomes is kind of falls to 3. Achane at 6,100, people faded him. I was never fading him at 6,100. If you follow the props market at all, his props got hit super hard Sunday morning. They moved up a ton. And we've talked about him enough. We don't need to talk about him anymore. But I just thought he was super underpriced. Same thing goes with Jamar Chase. He scored 55 for me. Basically, if you didn't play him, you auto lost. It was kind of like McCaffrey last week when he went for 50. Just playing these cheap guys lets you fit in someone like that. Bijan, once again, he was super fringe for me. I considered playing Kelce over him straight up. But I just had more faith. Bijan had really good props. He only had 2 catches. His game profile is really well for DraftKings, but he did not get the snap share that I expected. So I think you could have made the case for Kelce over him, and that was potentially my only mistake here, but I think I would probably go back and do the same thing again. So I think I played pretty well overall this week. Not many mistakes.
Yeah, clear to me too that, like, especially in cash, but like, you want the studs. I mean, because the studs have the slate ending upside, like McCaffrey last week, like you said, and this week with Jamar Chase. So clear in cash, just sucking it up and playing the shitty cheapies like the Wan'Dales or the Khalif Raymonds just to get to those guys, get 2 of them in your lineup. It's clearly the route. It's clearly the best, you know, route to success and stuff. And then it just comes down to, like, honestly the 1v1, right, Bryce? Like once you do that, it's like FanDuel. It was like literally a 1v1. If you chose Brees Hall, you were a winner on FanDuel. And then, like you said, if you chose Connor, you got unlucky. And Pacheco was right in the middle. But that's kind of how it goes.
I really wanted to do Brees Hall and I if there was a 2K punt defense, I would have done it. Brees Hall and over Bijan, and then get
was the Giants 2K? Were the Giants defense 2K? I can't remember.
Yeah, I just didn't think they were playable.
Yeah.
Sadly. Yeah, you could have done Brees Hall over Bijan and then gotten I think it was Raymond up to Marquise Brown.
Yep. Well, there you go. There's the cash breakdown. I know Kevin wants to steal the show. He's been typing away. I don't know if he's typing reports or he's getting his presentation ready. I will say, while Kevin is setting up his presentation, make sure you guys hit the like button.
I couldn't find it, but
hold on. I just want to spiel real quick. I got a quick spiel here, and then you can give your talk on Lamar Jackson. I did want to mention that premium plays for last night on the bet side smashed 3-0 on the premium plays. I know there was some LOL plays. Just posted some hockey futures. So if you're into futures and some hockey winners, we just posted that. JBC just posted some hockey futures on the site or the bets picks in Discord and on the site. So if you do have the package, you get the package, you get the bet side. Make sure you get in the Discord. At the bottom, you'll see bets picks and then premium plays. So the premium plays are like the top 3 to 5 plays from the team, JBC, stats, Big T, kind of like a consensus thing. And JBC's been crushing them. And then you got the bets picks where everyone, including those guys too, gives you like their bets for the day, just what they're betting. And we have a ton of bets through there. And these guys are betting soccer, LOL, every sport pretty much we're firing at in the bet side. So if you guys like winners.
Went 2-0 in League of Legends last night. That was fun. I posted one, Mark posted the other.
There you go. See, even league. We're posting league bets over there. Just straight winners, man. Bryce. Just literally winners all throughout the day. If you want to degen out and bet, this is the place to be, man. We got bets firing all throughout the day. I know Christine was dropping some winners yesterday. Big T, dropped all of his baseball bets, his football stuff. I mean, this is where you want to be here, man. The volume is here, and people that are winning, we got it, in every sport. So check it out. It's a good thing. If you haven't dabbled on the bet side before, try it out. It's cheap. If you don't like it, no big deal. But if you like volume, if you like, constant, sweats with bets, this is definitely the spot for you here. And we got professional bettors that have been doing it for a long time, and they're here now dropping really good stuff over at Rumpier Sports and Rumpier Bets. So sign up, you get the bet side, and check it out. Alec, you want to present your video here?
Yeah, I need you to allow me to share the screen. Okay. There we go. 18 seconds of Lamar Jackson. I blame Zay Flowers. It was actually Rashad Bateman. Here we go.
Man, this is riveting. Wow. Look at him. Look at him. He beat him on a slant.
Cool.
Man. Kevin, what a play right there. Did we just skip through the actual play of him not catching it?
Do we want to watch it again? No, I'm just kidding.
No. That was, what a clip by Kevin right there.
You're right. Come
Lamar
through?
should have had 30. No, we did not.
No, it paused after like 2 seconds after he beat his guy.
We get the point,
Shit.
Kevin. Okay.
It went
Lamar's
through for me.
Receivers were open. They dropped balls. Lamar should have had 30. Blah, 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 blah. We get it. All right. You were right. No one's ever dropped passes and had that happen to him before. You know what's funny? Whenever I have this argument with people like, oh, my quarterback should have done better. He got fucked. His receivers sucked or whatever. I always get made fun of. Now Kevin wants to say this bullshit. And I won't let it stand because it's bullshit, Kevin. If I can't, have a bad beat and have that as an excuse for when my quarterback does bad, you got to sit there and take your L for playing Lamar Jackson against the Pittsburgh Steelers in a shitty game environment. I'm sorry.
In a perfect matchup with wide open receivers all game.
You think that they would have consistently been throwing like that too if they were up?
If they weren't going to throw it, he was going to run it. He's the running back. Justice Hill fumbled the freaking ball. It was his. It was his time.
That's my point. I don't think they would have consistently been throwing it like that if they were up, but they just couldn't catch the ball. So, all right, Kevin, you can take your victory lap on Lamar. What do you end up scoring for you? Like 15?
Like 11 or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Tough scene for Lamar. All right. What other games? Were there any other games that we can think of from the Sunday night game? Oh, we have to talk about Dallas before we get out of here because Dallas got literally – we have to. They got absolutely spanked. Dak Prescott, I think in his dreams, sees Nick Bosa and Fred Warner and Greenlaw. I think he sees them in his sleep. Like he has nightmares of them because – he is so bad. And I keep telling people that when they actually need him to throw the ball, when the defense isn't scoring like 2 touchdowns a game and they need Dak to throw the ball against good teams, they're going to lose. Like this team literally is all defense. And now that, you lose one of your better defenders, I just don't see it for them. And people still think that they have a shot to like beat some of the better teams in the NFC. I just don't see it. Like I don't think they're there. I think the offense just won't be able to do it when they need them to. I'd put them with the Lions. Like, I think they're right with the Lions below like the top tier NFC teams. I think they're right with the Lions in the NFC. And I don't think anyone can like give me an example to where they're better than that. Like, I think they're that second step, not the top step where you got like the top tier 2 teams, probably the 49ers and the Eagles, right? They're that next step below. And I just don't see them beating either of those 2 teams when it's all said and done. I mean, unless one of you can give me something different. I
100% agree. I think the killer for their team was Diggs being out because Diggs changes their entire defensive scheme because they would just leave him on an island and let everyone else like, they put Parsons on the other side of the field, let him blitz like fucking crazy, dare people to throw to Diggs, and then just shift the safeties to the other side. It changes everything they do on defense. So, like, even their elite defense is – and, Van Der Esch is going on IR, I think. They're just hurt. And, the Cowboys are not the type of team that really wants to play a shootout game. And they're going to be having to play more shootouts, especially against better teams that can score points on their defense. Instead of having this elite defense, it's just banged up and it sucks for them. But, I also never trust a Mike McCarthy coach team. The guy's been an idiot for fucking forever. And it is what it is. It's simply not a well-designed offense. I don't think, Tony Pollard has been so explosive in years past and he hasn't shown any of that explosiveness this year. I think better days are coming for him, but I don't really have any faith in the Cowboys. I think the Niners are better than the Eagles personally. The AFC is wide open. The NFC is super not open, which is pretty much what we expected it to be. The best teams are the best teams in the NFC. And, the AFC, you got the Dolphins, the Bills. I think the Jags are pretty good. Obviously, the Chiefs. I still have faith in the Chargers.
You said don't trust Mike McCarthy teams. I'm going to tell you right now, don't trust the Chargers in that team.
Well, don't trust Brandon Staley, but
oh my God, don't trust him to make the right decisions.
I do trust Justin Herbert, though. I don't trust.
I like Justin Herbert, but
I just
Staley makes the worst decisions at the end of games.
He makes absolutely idiotic decisions, but when that defense is healthy, they're better than they've shown. And I do like Justin Herbert. Sucks for them that Mike Williams is out for the year. But
by the way, does it infuriate anyone when they watch now these televised games and all the commentators talk about is the analytics and what the analytics say for the analytics say they should kick a field goal. The analytics say, shut the fuck up. No one cares to hear you talk about the analytics. It drives me. I literally heard that 5 different times last night. I wanted to pull my friggin' hair
It's like
out.
it's such a buzzword. They don't even understand what they are.
Yeah, that's what it is, too.
They
have no idea
you're better
what
off
they're
on
talking
Twitter
about.
following like the win probability bot. If they actually wanted to incorporate it, they'd say, oh, they gain 5% points of win percentage if they go for it, as opposed to kicking. Why is he kicking?
Yeah,
that's
we
how
get
you should
it.
talk
All
about
these teams now, too, they have analytic guys like in their ears telling them this is the percentage, blah, blah, blah. We get it. Like there's analytics involved in what these coaches like go through when they're, making decisions. Understandably, we don't want to hear you say it, though, every single time there's a 4th and 2 in the, the 50 or 40-yard line and they're thinking about going for it. Like I just can't stand listening to those guys. Kevin, anything on the Cowboys for you?
I
I
thought
can't
that their
remember
team,
if you were a big fan.
I thought their team was going to, the moment that Trayvon Diggs got hurt, I literally said in one of the chats that the Cowboys were in trouble at this point for the rest of the season. They're just exactly what Bryce said. It's literally the defense is the only way that they're going to win games. They're going to use their offense to support, and getting rid of some of the players that they did on the offensive side than this past season. Like Dalton Schultz, as much as you want to say, hey, they got Jake Ferguson, yada, yada, Dalton Schultz was a safety net for Dak, and they don't have another running back now. It's just Tony Pollard. Their backup is not doing so well. They need to go pick up a running back probably at this point and try to figure out what to do there for the rest of the season. But Brandon Cooks is not it. Like, he's not it. Like, their second wide receiver is still an issue on that team. Always will be. And
that's
it's a
another issue. The receivers can't get open. I mean, play Kavontae Turpin at this point more. It's unfortunate he got injured, but
yep.
Maybe playing him more is a good idea because these guys aren't getting separation, and it can't just be all CeeDee Lamb because the defenses are just going to focus in on him and Tony Pollard. So
Dak was never whoever unknown is. Dak was never good. I'm sorry.
He beat up on inferior teams. I'll keep saying that too.
Dak earned a stupid paycheck for no reason, and I've been fighting with VIP about this for God knows how long.
VIP loves his.
I would rather have 15 quarterbacks with the contract situation over Dak Prescott. Like, you cannot tell me that you would not rather have all 3 of the rookie quarterbacks right now playing over Dak Prescott.
I would not want Bryce Young over Dak.
I disagree with you, because if you had Bryce Young, you'd be able to get all of the players around him because you got a rookie contract. Like, that's the thing is the rookie contract that you can build around those guys. You can't tell me that Bryce Young is that much worse than Dak Prescott is as a game manager for $40 million a year less.
Well, you're bringing in money into this argument. Yeah, okay. That's
100%.
fine. Okay. I would not pay Dak Prescott that amount of money. So you're right. I'll take any other quarterback that in the NFL that's starting that's not getting paid that amount of money over Dak Prescott. But if I'm just talking about quarterbacks and talent, I would not want Bryce Young.
10 to 12 easily over him at the money that they're getting paid versus Dak Prescott as well. And that's what I'm saying is you're literally hampering. My whole theory on this salary cap situation is that the quarterbacks that are getting paid the maximum, you either have to be an all elite, like game changer type of player to be able to have the team have a chance to win, or you're building around a rookie contract. Like, my theory around this has not changed, that the NFL has created a system where the quarterback is getting paid so much that the rest of the team is impacted by it. And unless you find an all-elite, world-changing quarterback, your team's going to be in trouble long-term.
Well, I'll tell you right now, they got to be careful because Daniel Jones' contract, looking back on that, that's going to be looked back badly. I think Dak Prescott, everyone's already starting to look at that and saying, well, we got to be careful about – so what do the Bears do? Like, do the Bears play Justin – do they pay Justin Fields? Like, do they not? What do they do here? Like, you got to be careful with those quarterbacks because – you can't be paying some of these guys. Like, the Daniel Jones money is just crazy. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. The Dak Prescott money is just crazy. And like Felix said, it impacts the rest of – why do you think Tom Brady throughout his years in New England always took a little less? He always ended up like taking a little less and reworking the contract so they could get some other guys. He always did that. What? He always did that. He knew. What do you mean? Kevin?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought you did this. Like he didn't
No,
do that.
I
Like,
agree
he
with
always
you.
did it. He was
100%.
smart about that. And quarterbacks should be doing it because you don't need all that money. You don't need to make that much money. It's insane type of money. You can make a few less and get more talent around you and have a shot to win. It's just insane. I get it's a lot of.
But it's why teams reset every 3 or 4 years though for these teams that are middling. Like what's going to happen with Pittsburgh? What's going to happen with Atlanta? What's going to happen with Washington? Like all these teams, if they don't find someone this year that they feel confident in, that's going to be able to cover them for another year or 2 years, they're going to start finding the next guy because rookie contracts are so valuable on a quarterback. First round rookie contracts are even more valuable for a quarterback because you get it for 5 years. Like that's the big difference. And that's why I'm going with my Nashville knowledge of sports radio and stuff like that. But like people are disappointed that they didn't get Will Levis in the first round solely because they couldn't lock him up for 5 years. And that's like, they don't even care that they got Will Levis. Like they're happy that they got Will Levis for whatever reason. They're disappointed that they didn't get Will Levis in the first round and like trade up to number 31 or 32 because they can't pay him for 5 years.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, that's probably not going to really matter that much. But back to those teams that they're all going to get new quarterbacks. That's what's going to happen to all those teams, and it's going to keep recycling. That's why it's better to be almost bad in the NFL, right, and have a shot at getting one of the top. The problem with New England for years has been they're always like in the middle. They need to be like really bad one year so they can go get a top tier quarterback.
Well, this is the year because they fucking suck.
This has to be the year. It's got to be the year where they just tank it. I don't know if Belichick probably does know, but man, hopefully they tank and they go get an actual quarterback because Mac Jones, that was a terrible pick. Absolutely terrible pick.
They can wait another year though on him, like not saying him necessarily, but if they aren't able to tank and get the quarterback that they want to get in the draft, they either trade up or they make a decision to get a stopgap for a year if they don't want to give Mac Jones anymore, and then you go and find one. That's just how this whole thing works.
They're 4-1 right now, so 1-4, so they're like right there at the bottom here, Kevin. Like if you want to start starting Zappy or sit Mac Jones or whatever, like I would not be shocked if that happened. If they start getting killed by the Bills or the Dolphins in one of these 2 next games, don't be shocked. They just say screw it.
Same thing's happening. The only team right now that is 1-4 that is put themselves in just a terrible situation long term is the New York Giants. Arizona is going to get themselves out of their situation pretty easily. Minnesota is like the easiest team to get themselves out of the bad situation they're in with their quarterback and just go and take another quarterback. Like it's just the strapping of these quarterbacks causing these teams is really hard. And we'll see what the long-term impact is of it. But on the short term, you got to find a way to get another quarterback. If you're not happy with the quarterback you have, you find a first-round pick and go get the one you want.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I think we covered the weekend review here. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Get notified every time we go live with these free shows because we do it pretty much every day. NBA is coming around the corner. I think like almost 10 days or something like that until NBA, maybe 11, somewhere around there. So, we'll have all the content over at Rumpier Sports. Get in right now. What is it? RPS 15, I think is the promo code for 15% off.
Yes,
so,
15. Got hockey tonight. Wiley's leading up a new hockey team. We got some super sharp guys that we brought in. And I'm waxing hockey for like the first time. I'm not a hockey guy. I do it during NBA All-Star break like you, but it's $50K to first tonight. I'm just basically going to be using the RPS tools that we have available, and we're going to ship the $50K tonight. Call my shot. Opening night.
Love that. All right, a little hockey. What's up, hockey?
I ship every first day of hockey I ship. It's happened 2 years in a row. So I'm
Really?
Bryce already called the shot. Now you're saying it's
Kevin's
your
smart.
shot.
I might have to swap action with Kevin if night one.
Yeah,
is,
you
night
might
one
want to
is
swap
his
some
night.
action.
Yeah.
Kevin's got the hockey winners. Don't let him fool you. Kevin's a hockey guy too. So, all
My
right. Well, the
Cubs are
hockey
playing.
chat will be popping day one. I think it's day one of the season. And like I said, we've dropped hockey futures. JBC dropped his hockey futures in the bets package over at Run Pure Sports. Get the bet side, get the DFS side. You like hockey? You want hockey winners? We got a whole new team ready for hockey tonight. We'll have NBA start in the next 10, 11 days, and we'll be back Thursday for football. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll see you guys then. Till then, I'm JSU, Third and Shalom, K Fallick. We'll see you guys next week for the next weekend review show. Good luck in all your contests. We're out. Peace.